Okay. Now, I've lived around and gone around Australia. And you know what, Chrissy? The only part of Australia that I have not been is Tasmania. And I know that it's got beautiful wineries and gorgeous food producers as well. So you're in a perfect spot for me.
It's not dissimilar to New Zealand, Catherine. Because likewise, you have beautiful wineries and beautiful places to eat and explore.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we're a very foodie family, as you'll hear later on when I introduce myself, but sneak peek into who I am. Like, I'm married to a professional chef, so we're all about the food
Mm,
and the wine and the cheese and all the growers and producers. So yeah, oh, I
beautiful.
yeah, I love Australia so much. I was in Brisbane just about 2 weeks ago. I was traveling with Luke, our CEO of the Cancer Coach, and honestly, like it feels like summer when we were in Brisbane.
Likewise, I was there for the Herkansa conference, and
Oh,
yes, and it was so lovely to put on summer clothing and then come back to Tassie and get the winter clothes back out.
I feel you. As we were coming into Auckland, seriously, we had turbulence, and it was just like, "Welcome home." The pilot said, "Unfortunately, we're going into some weather conditions," and I'm like, "Feels like home now."
It is what it is. We can't control Mother Nature.
Oh, no, no. I hope you enjoyed the Brisbane conference. Did you?
I did. It was brilliant. It was exhausting as I'm on the leadership team for Herkansa, but it was really good. It's just so beautiful to see and hear such passion in a room.
Absolutely. I thrive on that as well. Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm really hoping there'll be more people coming. I know that is a bit of an odd time, and luckily it's quite late and with daylight savings as well. So yeah. Don't know. Well, introducing my team. I don't know if you've met our team here. Tom, he's going to be supporting me with tech because as I can't multitask, my menopause brain does not serve me when I'm trying to do one thing. So Tom is absolutely going to help me with my tech. And James is also our cancer coach team. He's the phenomenal man behind all of our design creations. He's marketing expert. So I'm stoked to bits that we've got two of my team here with me. Um, yeah, let's see. We should wait for about maybe a minute or two, I guess. And
Yeah,
before,
sure.
yeah. I'll just one of the things that I wanted to share, Chrissy, is I think what stood out for me from that presentation, which really moved me was is it Nia? Yeah, she was like her work, including the indigenous people in Australia. I just wish so much that we could do this and replicate this in New Zealand. So, yeah, we need a Dr. Nia in New Zealand.
There was definitely some very inspiring presenters, and I think it just makes you come away and just wants you to tap back into your energy and just get back on that road of driving for change. And yeah, I'm very passionate about seeing coaching and the coach approach that's accessible for everybody and not for those that are in a position to either financially afford it or to afford it through their insurance, because it has such amazing impacts when you get clients on that journey. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And one of the things that I'm really sort of honoring at the moment is how amazing it is that we're actually really including our traditional holistic way of healing. And because I come from Singapore and we are all about the traditional Chinese medicine, and now I feel like I've come full circle and I'm really embracing a lot of those plant-based options and the herbs and the mushrooms that I used to be brought up on, and all of that is kind of, I feel as if I've come away from that, all my roots, and then reconnecting now back into it. And I'm really excited in this space. So yeah, that's kind of like my big aha. Love that presentation. So I told Linda how awesome that conference was. So can't wait for next year, to be honest.
I have a feeling it's going to be in New Zealand.
Really?
I just have this feeling, Catherine, that it may just be in New Zealand.
No excuses for me not to come with all my own bells and whistles on.
Watch this spot.
Okay, awesome. Great. Okay. Well, let's start. I guess we'll kick off the presentation, and hopefully more people will jump in as we go along. So thank you so much for the opportunity to present the official launch of Tree of Life in Australia and New Zealand. I am going to share my screen and present. I've done this a few times now, so I should be quite smooth in my operation. Now I'm hoping you can see my screen. Tom will probably...
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Okay, so welcome. I guess, Chrissy, you already know me from Her Cancer, but my name is Katherine, and I'm one of the cancer coach at the Cancer Coach. And I've just introduced my team, Tom and James. So this event, it really is launching our revolutionary Tree of Life anti-cancer lifestyle program. And I'm really, really excited that we can bring this to the Australia, New Zealand community. And it's such an essential part of life right now. I mean, as we are getting all of the stats, of the number of people who are diagnosed with chronic illnesses, I'm really excited that this is an opportunity for us to give as many people as possible the chance to actually be educated that lifestyle is medicine. Okay, so what we cover in Tree of Life, we look at topics that are essential for living an anti-cancer lifestyle, and it's built on the foundation of growth and behavioral change. Okay, and so this is like our Anti-Cancer Super 6, which includes stress management and emotional well-being, which I'm covering today, nutrition, exercise and movement, sleep, gut health, digestion and elimination, and lastly, protection from toxins. I am also a cancer survivor. Back in 2016, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 2, and I'm pleased to share that I'm almost 8 years into complete remission. I'm really looking forward to 10 because I think that will be worth celebrating. I haven't thought about what I'm going to do yet, maybe, but it will be a milestone for me because, I'm actually really stoked that I survived the first 5 years after diagnosis without a recurrence, because I know that the first 5 years is pretty high chance that we get a recurrence. And it was really through lifestyle medicine that has got me to where I am today. So I'm really excited and passionate to be able to share this with you. Okay, so this particular Tree of Life program really targets not just the individuals, but also workplace wellness providers, employers, insurers, and also cancer treatment providers. Okay, so just skip my screen. There we go. So I guess Chrissy, I've just shared with you, I am living in New Zealand. I am actually based in the Bay of Islands. I've just moved here for the last 12 months, and I'm still really adjusting to life here. And I'm really looking forward to actually getting back into my water sports, snorkeling, scuba diving with my children. I'm originally born and bred from Singapore. I have my family's still all there, and I'm the oldest child, and I have a younger brother. And I have 2 children, Ethan, who's 13, and Charlotte, who's 10. And my husband is a professional chef, so we're foodies. So the agenda for today, okay, we're going to spend a good time together, about probably 90 minutes or maybe less, depending on how fast or slow I chat today. But we will be talking about the topic of the month, which is about stress and emotional well-being. Okay, we're also going to do a Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions at the end, it will be amazing for us to have an open communication or chat about anything that you'd like me to clarify. And if I can't answer it, my team, James, as well as Tom, will be able to help out. All right. Now, part of this sort of format, we are always going to do these online group events once a month. That's the last time, we're sort of looking at the frequency. And we want to be able to offer this to all of our Tree of Life or members, as well as their friends who are interested to join. So anyone who is interested to explore Tree of Life, we would encourage you to share it with your friends, and to bring more people along, because this is an online self-paced, self-guided program, and anyone can and will benefit. Okay. So I also want to preface and disclose that, I will be asking questions. I love engagement, and this is an opportunity for us to just be able to share as much or as little as you feel comfortable to, using the chat function, or if it's just a small group of us, come off mute. It's not a problem. And if I have the opportunity to answer and share, you never know that your question, no matter how small or how big or how complex or how simple it is, could actually inspire somebody else. And so because this session is recorded and it will be within our Tree of Life platform, your questions and my answers will definitely help to inspire and educate somebody else watching on replay. Okay. And also, we will use parts of this video for educational purposes on the content of the Cancer Coach website, on social media and marketing activity. Okay. So hopefully, if you are comfortable to share, and if you really do have a burning question for me directly without it being recorded, I'm more than happy to stay on a little bit longer after our presentation to have a chat with you. Okay. All right. So I wanted to take this opportunity to really introduce and show you share what Tree of Life is all about. And we call this a revolutionary health, lifestyle, and anti-cancer program that really stands against a growing culture of chronic illnesses. I mean, the stats you and I know, it's really shocking at the moment. 1 in 2 of us will get a cancer diagnosis. And we want to really improve and reverse those statistics. Okay, we're super passionate about that because we believe that everyone deserves a life of absolute freedom when we are living into our golden years, to be able to live our life and achieve everything that we set out to do and experience without needing to be stuck in a certain spot or space where we're actually needing to go for treatments or feeling too tired or exhausted to travel. A lot of my clients actually really love to travel. Okay, so our program actually provides the tools and support to prevent poor health. And these are all evidence-based lifestyle interventions and behavioral changes. All right. So just like a tree, we actually really look at our program starting from the seed of intention. Right. As soon as we decide, oh, okay, right, I need to do something. And I can and should, because obviously I want to live a long life, not just a long life, but also a life with absolute good health span. All right. So we want to be able to nurture that seed of intention under the right conditions and allow the roots to develop deep, strong, and continuously growing. Because life is an evolving journey. And so once that happens with the root structure, we embrace the trunk that supports the branches that blossom with leaves and flowers, which is how we withstand all of the different weather conditions, life events that happen to us, embracing all sorts of changes and challenges that come our way. Okay, so this is what it means to lead an anti-cancer lifestyle. All right, and this lifestyle really helps us to reduce our likelihood of suffering from a chronic illness diagnosis. And a lot of it, let's face it, so many people we know are struggling currently with type 2 diabetes, arthritis, asthma, osteoporosis, heart disease, and cancer, right? So the Tree of Life Anti-Cancer Lifestyle Program is aligning with the fundamentals of health of a tree. And I love this graphic. I don't know about you, but I find when I first saw the Tree of Life images and our slides, our brand colors, I find it so attractive. It really is eye-catching, and I love that. And what we are trying to design and to empower people is to grab you with the attention and understanding that all these foundations of growth and behavior changes can be so relatable when you look at the trees, when you go out for a walk, and when when you go out for a walk in the forest. For me, I love it. The green spaces, I come back and I feel as if I can solve the world's problems. Okay. Because honestly, it's something to do with being in nature that supercharge and energizes us. So we love the concept of Tree of Life. And so what is this Anticancer Super 6? So Tree of Life is delivered in 7 modules. So module 1 is stress management and emotional well-being, which forms the roots. Module 2 is growth and behavior change, which forms the trunk. And module 3, nutrition, which is the first branch. Module 4, exercise and movement, the second branch. Module 5 is sleep, so important, okay, which is the third branch. And module 6, gut health, digestion, and elimination, forming the leaves. And lastly, module 7, protection from toxins, the environment and around the tree. Okay. So each of the modules we include, and this is really comprehensive, fabulous lesson videos and up-to-date and accurate information with every aspect of an anti-cancer lifestyle. There's so much information. There's probably about, is it 20,000 hours worth of content? A lot, okay? And we also have a personal workbook to support with exercises that helps our learning. We have knowledge checks so that we can assess our knowledge and understanding. Now, I love the knowledge checks, not just because I'm also type A and quite competitive. I mean, I'm always racing against myself, but the knowledge checks really helps me understand and put it into practice straight away. And because we all learn in different ways, it is also really good that we have not just the workbook, but also the checks that allow us to understand. I mean, no one's going to mark you and there's no judgment. It really is an opportunity when we need something to reflect on, we need some extra content to go back and read it again. And the next time when we do knowledge checks, we'll go, oh, okay, I understand this better. So it really is just content that helps to really enhance our understanding, okay, of what we're sharing within the Tree of Life program. And we also have toolkits of hand-chosen resources to practically apply the information shared in the lesson videos. So one of the things I really love is we have within Tree of Life activity videos, Tai Chi, breathing. We have loads of different videos that we can help to implement within each of the Tree of Life content. Okay, so I personally love that. And also, we do have knowledge-based content, including research and clinical studies for people who probably love and dig into the science. Some people have that bandwidth, some people don't. Some people just love reading through content instead of watching videos. So we do have a lot of different aspects within Tree of Life that help different personalities get the fullest understanding, all right, of what we're trying to teach and educate and inspire. All right. And not last but not least, we do have the interaction. Okay. So we have interactions in different formats as well. We do have the community groups and forums for each and every anti-cancer lifestyle topic. Okay. So you have a community group. Within module 1, there is a community group of people who are going through module 1 at the same time as you. And we also have live group events, which is like what we're doing today. And this is absolutely open to all of our Tree of Life members. And lastly, the interaction with coaches, professional coaches like myself, who are within the Tree of Life platform supporting anyone and everyone going through the Tree of Life program. And there's the opportunity for members to book one-on-one contact or coaching sessions with our coaches. Okay, so I find it covers a lot of bases for different people at different stage of their journey within their cancer diagnosis, caregivers, or even anyone who is wanting to prevent a diagnosis or someone who is working towards survivorship. Okay, so it is a very comprehensive program, and we're so confident that this is going to be a game changer. All right. Okay, so here is how it will look like on our Tree of Life platform when it comes to the communities. Okay, so I don't know whether any one of you might have already explored Tree of Life, but if you haven't, I totally encourage you to log on and explore Tree of Life. It's so much to offer. And every time you log in to explore, I guarantee you take away something different, because I do as well. All right. And one of the things that helped me through my cancer journey was interacting with people. And I wish that back in 2016, I have a platform like Tree of Life to support me, because I am so unsure about reaching out and getting support. I've always been a do everything myself kind of person. And for me to reach out to someone asking for support is actually a real big ask on my part. And when I was connected with certain people who's had their cancer diagnosis, who are in remission, they came to me with open arms and told me that I'll be okay. And it was through their inspiring stories that gave me a lot of strength and hope. So I really, really think that within the Tree of Life, communicating with and connecting with the communities within Tree of Life is absolutely going to help our healing. Okay. And over here, this is the page that it would look like when it comes to offering additional resources and that toolkit of what we have personally hand chosen to help support the content and the knowledge-based content that we have offered and put down within Tree of Life that absolutely helps with any of our members understand the clinical studies behind why we recommend that, also giving them the opportunity to understand and implement, I think more importantly, implementing some of these activities, be it sleep, understanding why sleep is important, also understanding the importance of exercise and movement, and also, how can our nutrition really help to amplify our healing? Okay. So at The Cancer Coach, we are an internationally recognized provider of coaching and community programs that support, inspire, and empower individuals affected by cancer. So this is absolutely where we really want to help and share this with as many people as possible, and making this as accessible as possible through working with cancer treatment providers, insurers, such as, we've actually worked with insurers and EAP providers in the UK and Australia and Hong Kong. So this is a very exciting time for us, because we going through the insurers as well as EAP providers, or even workplace wellness providers, as well as employers, we are able to give the opportunity to as many people as possible. All right. And the insurers and the workplace well-being providers, they all have one common goal, which is to reduce the number of incidences of cancer. Okay. So our Tree of Life programs are beneficial to also any individuals who may find us in our programs and wanting to get help with the amount of anxiety and sort of chronic stress that they're going through. I personally remember I could not think of anything at all apart from how do I get out of this depressive mindset, because I never thought that I would ever be diagnosed with any chronic illnesses, because, my family history was purely high cholesterol and high blood pressure. No one had cancer. I was probably the first daughter, first female to actually have a cancer diagnosis. No one else before me. And I was only 38 when I was diagnosed. Yeah, because I'm 46. Probably my math is not that bad. I'm not that great, but like 8 years ago, I'm still considered a young patient. So it is really difficult for me to navigate through the stress. And so having this ability to get support be it online self-paced or getting someone like a caregiver. If my husband knew about this program and he went through the program and told me about what I could do and implement, that would actually help me alleviate a lot of anxiety. So I find that this need, and we are passionate about, making sure that this opportunity is offered to as many people as possible, regardless of your background, regardless of where you're from, because this is universal. And that's the reason why our animation and our graphics do not have any sort of faces per se. We are keeping it as universal and acceptable as possible across different ethnicities. All right. And also, I need to mention we are a team of oncologists, experts in behavior science, and we are all qualified, certified health coaches. As you know, we only work with health coaches who are professional and have recognized qualifications to be able to work with the cancer coach. Okay. So I would like to just come off screen and encourage some engagement. And if I could just stop sharing. Right. If you would be interested to share, what brought you here and what is your story with cancer? It would be really interesting to find out, because if there is any particular reason, like for me, my why for becoming a cancer coach is basically because of my own diagnosis. And I want to do better and be able to empower other people to be in the preventative space to support. So, I mean, I don't know whether you're happy to share, Chrissy. It's just us intimately. What's the story with cancer?
I'm more than happy to share, and thank you, Katherine, for all that you've shared so far about your own personal journey as well. I am a cancer survivor from when I was in my early 20s, and then more recently when I was in my late 50s. And I think the hardest journey was my most recent journey, and it was very fraught. It was very quick. It was a matter of 48 hours before I was in for surgery, and I felt I had no opportunity to stop and think about what was happening. I had no opportunity to think about how this was impacting on my partner. And like yourself, I come from a family with no history of cancer. And so that journey really sort of took me, as you would appreciate, on that helter-skelter of emotions and not knowing and feeling lost and despair. And since then, I kind of feel like I live a little bit on the knife's edge as to never quite knowing, is it going to come back? Is it not going to come back? And so there's always that apprehension there. And so then it's about doing whatever I can to look after my own health and well-being. And so that's my own personal journey. I also, my background is nursing, and I've worked for many years in intensive care, where I've looked after people who are going through a cancer journey and are really at that awful pointy end, and to see that and to feel quite helpless in what you're able to offer at that point, and know that prevention is so, so important. It is another aspect that brings me to the Tree of Life. My passion as a nurse, my passion as a health coach to prevent rather than cure is very much something that brings me into that coaching world. And very recently, we lost a very special friend with a diagnosis of only 8 days, and they passed 8 days later. And there was no little warning, little opportunity, and And for me, it really has resonated with me the importance of, from a preventative perspective, of cancer, but also, yes, those other health conditions that are lifestyle associated. And so I know the Tree of Life has that focus of those lifestyle behaviors, and that's the thing that pulls me to it. And I have actually just very recently, in the last few days, completed that first module, the stress management module, as an introduction to get a taster for it and to see how I felt. And then, to me, it's important to be a participant, to be able to then be someone who can promote and talk about something to others and engage others to come on board and be on the journey. Yeah.
Thank you, Chrissy. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that, and your story further solidify my commitment. And it gives me great purpose to know that we have all been brushed with cancer in some way, shape, or form. And that the more that we talk about and support each other, the more impactful it will be. We're creating this beautiful ripple effect. Moving on. How about Tom and James? Would you like to share? What's your story with cancer?
Do you want me to go? Yeah, mine's one of, well, my personal journey is prevention, but my motivator, the sort of triggers for me to seek a preventative lifestyle, is observing family members. Either my grandma, who died from bowel cancer, or my dad has actually recently died as a result of kind of Parkinson's, dementia, and just general ill health. And in a lot of cases, that could either have been significantly improved, or life could have been prolonged at a better quality of life. So I'm motivated by, why didn't he do this? Why didn't she try this? This is like all obvious to me, but only because I've observed these things over kind of most of my lifetime. I've been interested in kind of growing food and being out in nature. And my mum years ago would have a vegetable patch, so kind of I would have a lucky childhood, I suppose. But then getting a lot more into the detail of lifestyle, and where we each have the power to do something. Some of us have got more money or more time, so obviously it's at a different scale, but everybody can do something to improve their quality of life without the need to go to a doctor or a GP. We have so many tools around us, but a lot of that knowledge has been lost with pharmaceuticals and off-the-shelf processed foods and things like that. So yeah. I love what Tree of Life is that it's creating an awareness as to maybe knowledge that has been lost over a few generations, and that we do have the power to make some conscious decisions, really. So yeah.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, James. And Tom, what about you?
Yeah, so my sort of experiences with it sort of date back to my mum's mum. She passed away with breast cancer, and it's just sort of like, you know, when I was introduced to the job and I was introduced to the modules, so just I was working through them, and I'm type 1 diabetic, and I found so many things that I could take out of the modules to improve my lifestyle, which just sort of helps my overall well-being, and then it helps my control of my blood sugars and stuff like that. And it just sort of like opened my eyes to like, okay, yeah, this is for cancer prevention, but this also can be used for so many other things. And you know, it's just helped me improve my illness so much more.
Yeah. And I think we're all together to want to be not the ambulance at all. It's before we want to be that prevention and support way before we even think about an ambulance. So it's not even top or bottom of the hill. We want to be there way before to try and relearn or unlearn what we thought was healthy and really try and support us. So that's the reason why we feel so passionate, and see, we are all in the same sort of commitment to improving our health and well-being. So thank you so much for sharing that. So let me just share my screen again. And hopefully you can see my screen. Right? Okay. So
Mm.
thank you. All right. So, well, the stats is showing that 1 in 2 people will get a cancer diagnosis, but 4 in 10 cancers can be prevented. And how can we do that, right? I mean, some of the things that we share within this slide, as you can see, we should stop smoking, drinking less alcohol, keeping a healthy weight, eating a healthy diet, whatever that may look like for you. Okay, we're not prescriptive here. We're not trying to say there's only one way. Okay, but eating a healthy diet, enjoying the sun safely, and avoiding certain substances at work, so the environmental toxins is really one of the things that we need to think about and be curious. And also protecting against certain infections, avoiding air pollution. So the people that actually live really close to pollution, I mean, I lived in Hong Kong. Gosh, the pollution there was horrible. It's almost like I'm smoking a cigarette every single day. I was actually living there for 2 years. So between this small little group of us, I can share with you that I feel when I went for a retreat, and my mentor and facilitator actually asked, when do you think was the most stressful time in your life? I would say in Hong Kong. And it was a miracle that in the second year in Hong Kong that I could fall pregnant with my daughter. So it was so intensely stressful that I feel that my life was completely out of balance. So the air pollution there was horrible. It just clouded my judgment. And also, cutting down on processed food. Now, I don't know about you, but at some point in my life, I actually had to deal with changing a lot of the alcohol habits, my smoking. I used to smoke. I was a party girl. And then cutting down on processed food, because I went through a point in my life when I was so focused on building my career in my 20s that I completely stopped cooking, and I would just eat out, takeaways, junk food, you name it, I've done it. Okay. And so these are just, again, we know what's healthy, but how can we get back on track with, recognizing what's no longer serving us, and gradually just build in the good habits again. Okay. It's all possible. We are all able to do that. All right. So if you want a copy of this slide, Tom will put it in the chat box. It's very, very handy for us to have as a reminder. All right. And so what is the impact of a health coach when it comes to, a coach-led anti-cancer lifestyle on our healthcare system? I mean, Chrissy, you're from the nursing background. You would have seen firsthand how much pressure the healthcare system is going through at the moment. And I think in New Zealand, needless to say, we're under so much stress. The hospitals are understaffed, and when they do have the staff, they are all overworked, exhausted, highly stressed and anxious. Okay. So in this case, the health coach comes in to try and take the pressure off the healthcare system. And really, it is the most affordable, economical way to heal, right? We can look at adopting some lifestyle behaviors to help prevent our risk of chronic illnesses. All right. As a population, imagine that being a substantial approach rather than relying on pharmaceuticals, like what James just pointed out when he shared. And that actually would alleviate a lot of the stress on our taxpayers as well. I mean, think about that. The roll-on effect and benefits of lifestyle medicine. Okay. And also, there is less pressure on the healthcare system with needing so many nurses. Imagine a less a society or a country or a world that has less sick people and more into fixing. I mean, there is always a place for healthcare, right? Don't get me wrong. Like my daughter, she just fractured her. Well, she fractured about 8 weeks ago her tibia. I had to whisk her into the emergency because she was in so much pain and her bone was completely broken. So there is always a place for that. But we're talking about things that we can control through lifestyle. that we do not need to see a doctor for, and that we can actually, work with a coach to try and adopt and change some of our behaviors, change some of our habits. All right. So health coaching is actually a refreshing change, and it's cost effective. All right. And it also improves our adherence to cancer screening and vaccination, as well as alcohol and smoking cessation programs, right? I mean, imagine how much money the government is pumping into a lot of these awareness programs. Okay. All of our taxpayers' money. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know I'm going to pay tax, but I would rather the money use for supporting and allowing subsidies within Australia, New Zealand, to have the ability for health practitioners, GPs, to be able to hire health coaches to support the number of patients that they're needing to see. I mean, that would be a first step. Allocating of money, better use of funds. And that's why for us at the Cancer Coach, we feel so passionate in the power of our Tree of Life program, because just anyone, my next door neighbor could jump on a program and learn something from it and be able to implement something that will change his or her life and energy and sleep. Okay. So we want to be able to just give simple but impactful information within our program that would allow the behavior change to happen. All right. So values. I actually really love working in this area of awareness for ourselves, because why are values important? Because values really is like a compass. It serves and represents what matters most to each of one of us, who we really are wanting to become. And also, these words such as respect, kindness, love, care, integrity, bravery, or courage. These values are the cornerstones for us, when it comes to our choices that we want to make, our attitude to life. And it shapes all of our, way of response to any personal or professional challenges. Because without them, we will be rather lost. We wouldn't know where to go when we are presented with a challenge. Okay. So if you know your values, that's awesome. If not, we help you identify your values within Tree of Life, okay? And there are worksheets that is available, resources that are available within Tree of Life that helps you get clarity on that. Because even though we've done it probably 10 years, 20 years ago, we at every stage in our life, we could have a slight change of our values. And also there are different dimensions to our life that could have a slight difference of our values, okay? So your personal values, your family values, your career and education values could be very different, your health and well-being values. So it could be very different or it could be very similar, all right? So it's no right or wrong in this area. It really is what truly makes your heart sing, okay? And the Tree of Life program, it really anchors around individual values and, people's autonomy to make choices that are right for you in the most unbiased way, right? We have absolutely no judgment, like which I shared with all of my clients. When my clients see me and when we come together for a session, it's absolutely judgment left at the door. There is no judgment. It's a safe space for us to share. And within the Tree of Life community, you have your own journal to be able to write within the journal that is private to you. You do not need to share it. So this particular exercise is going to be really helpful for you to do on your own. And if you feel that you are ready to share within the Tree of Life community, within Module 1, yeah, we encourage you to as well. But there's no pressure, okay? And so, yeah, there is no assessment. No one is going to mark us within Tree of Life. It really is a free space for you to express yourself privately or openly. And we always do encourage some form of action taking, and clarity on values will really help us define our health goals as well. Okay. So I might have shared it earlier in the start of the session, but I'll share it again. It's really important for me to get clear that we are not here to prescribe any specific approach. We do not replace your medical or oncology or surgeon, whoever your specialists are. We are not here to replace. What we are able to give for people who are members of Tree of Life are tools and knowledge to empower you to help you live an anti-cancer lifestyle based on your own unique circumstances. And when you work with the coach-client alliance approach, we meet the client where he or she currently is, and from there, work towards what they are wanting to achieve based on their values and their goals, and then we take it from there. So we absolutely support and empower. We always really remember that staying on the client's agenda is highly, highly important for us as coaches as well. All right. So again, even though we don't prescribe, but a lot of the information that we share here are all evidence-based, and we have specialists, oncologists, behavioral specialists who create the content within Tree of Life. And we know through our application, and you might have gone through some of that content, Chrissy, that that they are so easy to relate. They are so easy to go through. And most of the time, they are simple pillars and information that one can actually take away and start to activate. All right. So if there are any questions, if no questions, I don't have my chat box open. But if you have any questions, pop it in the chat box and I'll answer it during Q&A. Okay. So what is stress? Right. I wanted to say I am unfortunately a stress expert because I've lived with chronic stress and burnout with my background with my childhood trauma for probably 3/4 of my life. As a child, I probably have suffered from my anxiety attack back in the day, but I didn't know what it was. I went through a period of my life, not eating, not sleeping. I can't remember how old I was, but I remember standing by the window, looking out, feeling so sick and anxious and just unable to eat and sleep, wondering what is wrong with me. And only after I've started training and talking to people who are well-being experts, I realized that I had childhood trauma that brought on long-term anxiety, that brought on chronic stress, leading to my burnout in my career. So unfortunately, I'm a stress expert, which means that I know stress really well. And that's the reason why this is a pillar which I feel is so important and so crucial for all of us to start recognizing. Because what's happened is we've started normalizing and accepting all of the things that we've struggled with, and we think it's normal because mom and dad struggle and it's fine, they survive. So I'm giving myself the permission. It is okay. I can't complain. Nothing is wrong. And that's the way I function for a long, long time. But I'm really pleased that this particular opportunity for me to share with you and any one of you guys watching on the replay is that stress is normal, but when it comes to affecting our balance, it is not a normal emotional response, okay? So the definition of stress: mind and body responses or reaction to a real or perceived threat, event, or change. It could be different stimuli that actually affect us and makes us feel stress, such as, a clash with a colleague at work, a sudden chronic illness diagnosis like mine with breast cancer, or it could be a bullying incident at work, right? Which happens to a lot of women. And so it's really important that we start to get curious with things that we have kind of ignored and go, well, no, that's all right. That's all right. I'll be fine. but hang on a minute. Am I feeling stress? What's the rating of my stress from 1 to 10? Checking in with ourselves, right? Am I in survival mode or am I thriving? Am I in fight and flight or am I in rest and digest? So understanding what the impacts and what are the stresses that bring on stress, okay? What are the triggers? And start to get really curious, all right? And we can do that. We can get curious, all right? And recognizing certain signs. I put up with, long-term sleep deprivation, but I just didn't know what was wrong. But I realized later on that actually I do have sleep issues because I just don't. I feel anxious going to bed. Needing to rely on other things to relax, such as alcohol. So things like that we start to accept as okay. Let's all start to get a little bit curious. Just ask ourselves and check in with our body. Understand what's impacting our flow. Am I sleeping well, or am I just surviving, or am I doing better today? What's helping me? Okay. And so understanding the root causes of stress is absolutely pivotal. And so that's the reason why I think curiosity it's a very important thing for us to start to be aware. And it can be so many different factors. I've named a few just now. I used to work with a boss that bullied me. So bullying is a real situation right now when it comes to workplace stress and burnout. And also, it could be just being stuck in traffic that can really stress us out, me being fearful of being stuck in traffic because then I'll get this warning letter from the school that I'm late to pick my daughter up again. Things like that really stresses me out. And also not being able to achieve at my work. I used to be in a corporate media and advertising industry, very high stress, and I was judged by numbers a lot. And so I would wake up in the morning on my BlackBerry and look at my sales and my numbers, and I'll feel my heart palpitations going into work. So that's the way I used to start my morning. And so guess what? My stresses are work, performance, making sure that I'm achieving, otherwise I'll get fired. The fears are real. So understanding the root cause of stress, right? For me, it's definitely a few. For everyone, it might be a bit different, okay? So get curious and find out what they are. So the stress response, and this is mind-blowing because we tend to think, when we are disconnected with our body, we start to not be able to understand, what are the signals that's telling me that I'm no longer coping, right? So the stress response happens in our brain. The hypothalamus, which is where our control center is, and the acute stress activates the hypothalamic pituitary axis, the HPA axis, which causes the release of cortisol, which is our stress hormone, okay? Which rises naturally every morning, right? Cortisol. But when we have a pressure cooker buildup of cortisol, that's when it becomes a lot of pressure on our adrenal glands. Our adrenal glands actually pump out epinephrine, which is adrenals. And when you're suffering from long-term chronic stress, the adrenals get really fatigued as well. Okay. So our nervous system becomes hypervigilant, and we stay in this hypervigilant fight and flight state when you go to bed and when you wake up. So it's almost like I always talk to my clients saying, imagine we're just this walking pressure cooker. It's just waiting to explode. So how can we understand those signs, right? Increased heart rate, faster breathing. I used to get palpitations like crazy. I struggle to actually get that deep breathing. Sweating, perspiration, just like when I'm going into a meeting, I can just feel my armpits just like, my boss is going to fire me. I know it because I didn't meet my targets. That's the kind of like weekly response I had to deal with. All right. Blood pressure, increasing our blood sugar because of cortisol. So cortisol rises, blood sugar rises as well. And then guess what? I start to gain weight because digestion actually turns off because the body is just on that fight and flight vigilant state. It's just trying to reduce and release that danger and keeping us safe. All right. Increasing of inflammation in my body. I used to always think, why am I always getting ulcers, like mouth ulcers? I get this really often. And I thought it's just me, right? It's just me accepting it as normal. But I realized later on it's actually a form of inflammation. Okay. And these things would just keep going until I suffer from like sleep issues, hormonal imbalance, my periods were irregular. I had very bad immune function, so I fell sick quite a lot. So again, stress impacts workplace absenteeism as well. Chronic diagnosis like mine, and also weight gain, very, very normal, which a lot of us struggle with. And as well as allergies. It's really interesting. With allergies, we thought, oh, it must be hay fever, but sometimes, hang on, is it really hay fever or something else is impacting our immune response? Okay, so I thought this is a very handy slide for us to just showcase, what are the stress response? What signals is the body trying to tell us to sit up and notice? All right, excuse me. And when we have prolonged stress, okay, chronic illnesses follow. It's almost textbook. All right. And then what do we do sometimes? Like what I've just mentioned to you. Oh, I have a family history of high cholesterol, high blood pressure. My mom, my grandmother, my maternal grandmother actually died from diabetes. Oh no, it wouldn't happen to me because it's too far on, because my mom doesn't have diabetes. So I just think these things, actually, I've accepted as it won't happen to me. But guess what? It did happen to me with cancer. So it is a good opportunity for us to identify what are the stress response, what are the signals my body is trying to tell me, and then start to get curious. And maybe I encourage my clients to actually journal. Find a time to just write down, oh, today I'm actually having a really sore gut. What happened? Was there something that really made you nervous? I used to remember I was constipated for a long, long time because my gut was never at a rest and digest state, that I was just blocked because of all that intense stress. Whereas my husband, back in the day when he was hyper stressed as an emerging chef, he used to get so nervous that he would be nauseous and then he couldn't digest his food, excuse me, and he couldn't eat. So we all have different stress responses. So it's a really good chance for me to share this so that we can all start to get a little bit more curious. Okay. So this is mindfulness. I don't know if any one of you guys work within the mindfulness arena or you experience it, but for me, I love mindfulness practice. And it can be very different. And also, I mean, meditation is the most common mindfulness practice. There's also different types of mindfulness. Different types of meditations. There is the stillness meditation and there is active meditation. So one of the things that I love doing, which took me through my entire chemotherapy journey, was learning how to knit again. So back in the day, about probably 20 odd years ago, I learned to knit in Singapore in this little craft shop that I knitted, and I was trying to make a jersey for my boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. So, and I made two parts without the sleeve, and we broke up before we made the sleeve. So I actually knew how to knit and pole, but something jolted my curiosity about how I could kill time. When I started sort of researching what I could do, two things came up. Number one is coloring during my chemotherapy when I'm sitting on the chair. And the other one was knitting. So I got given, coloring books by really good friends who wanted to support me. And that is another mindfulness activity. All right. So for me, I love the idea of just sitting in stillness. And a lot of my experience with meditation, at first I thought meditation is meant to be me sitting like a guru and just be able to just completely clear my mind and be thinking of nothing. Well, guess where and how that got me more frustrated, until my mentor actually told me, well, no, Katherine, you're not supposed to clear your mind because you're supposed to still have your thoughts. But bringing your awareness back into your breath and back into your chair or your feet that's touching the ground and going back into connecting with your breath, that is part of the practice. As soon as I was told that by my mentor, it was almost like a little lift in my chest. I realized that that is giving myself the permission to just be still and concentrate on breathing. Okay. So, you could totally just sit down and be still over your hot cuppa, and mindfulness practice can be just staring and smelling that cup of tea. It could be really fragrant, looking at the color and just feeling the warmth of the cup around your hands. Okay. That in and of itself is a mindfulness practice. Okay. I always encourage people to start that way. If you're not used to it, that's fine. Start with sitting down for about 10 minutes. And then from there, if you know you consistently can do 10 minutes of mindfulness activity, then maybe you could do a little bit longer. Okay. The power of the mindfulness practice is allowing and giving yourself the permission to be still. All right. Super powerful and really, really nourishing for our body. And that is going to help kick back our nervous system from fight and flight and, being hypervigilant into our parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. Okay. So any little time that you can allocate for yourself to breathe and be still is going to help release the pressure in that pressure cooker. All right. So for me, I absolutely love a couple of mindfulness activities, breathing exercises. My favorite is box breathing, gratitude journaling, or any form of journaling, reflection journaling. I recently heard about Japanese psychology. I think it was shared during our Her Cancer conference. Love it. I researched into it. Love the prompts. Yoga, Qigong, or Tai Chi. Okay. Look up some of these studios that are doing Qigong and Tai Chi. My mom spent a good part of her life as a young mom with me. She would go downstairs in Singapore in the HDB apartments, and she would go for her Qigong. So great when it comes to the mind-body connection. Guided imagery is also a really powerful mindfulness practice. Mindful walking, which we do have a video on walking meditation. Love that on Tree of Life. I encourage you to all check that out. And also, what I shared earlier with your mindful cuppa, mindful eating, mindful exercising, mindful listening, whatever that you might listen to. It could be a podcast, it could be binaural beats or some relaxing tunes that really helps you just calm and bring into, moving our emotions from our sympathetic nervous system into parasympathetic nervous system. I find music really powerful. Okay. And also, like if you happen to be waiting for someone at a cafe, you could just come off your device and just sit for a minute and just breathe. I find that really powerful. Sneak in your little minute micro mindfulness moments as many times as possible, because what we're doing is really allowing ourselves to serve our nervous system just for that moment. Okay. So think about that mindfulness currency they're trying to build in your little piggy bank. Okay. All right. Guided meditations, super powerful. I absolutely love using the Insight Timer or some of the guided meditations that we have actually a really good library of it in our Tree of Life platform. And we do have an app. Hey, James, I know that there's an app that supports our, so if you're out and about and you are on your walk and you want to tune into one of our guided meditations within our Mighty Networks app, you can actually log in through the app and have it playing in the background. I'm pretty sure that we can do that. And you just open it in the background and plug in, and you could tune into one of our meditations within the app. Okay. And also, as many times as possible, look into relaxation within your day. I always find it really nice and supportive to have an evening relaxation routine. Okay, some ladies love a little like a bath at the end of the night, add some essential oils in the water. Or for me, I love my evening journaling as well. It reflects on the start of the day and the end of the day for me. I always love, if I don't have the opportunity and time to do it in the morning, I'll do it in the evening. Okay. So at least once a day journaling, it will be really nice for me to be able to do too. All right. So, and what else? Yeah, the breathing. Do you know the box breathing actually is so important? Because it really is pampering our nervous system. I call it pampering because sometimes we can pamper, our body, our physical body going for a massage, pamper ourselves going for a manicure or a pedicure. But when we breathe, we're pampering our nervous system. So powerful. I reframed it this way and I shared it, and so many women have actually said, "Oh, I can do that. I can actually think about that. I'm pampering my nervous system because I'm trying to consistently because we can't avoid stress. So stress is there to keep us effective. It's also helping us become productive at work. But what we're trying to do is on a regular basis, we're trying to move from one continuum to another. So from sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system, getting us from rest and digest. So think about that as pampering. A box breathing session is pampering our nervous system. Okay. And so the deep breathing and the belly or diaphragmatic or abdominal breathing is basically where we are going to serve our parasympathetic nervous system. So when we inhale, we're actually activating sympathetic. And then when we exhale, we're actually really bringing our body into calm parasympathetic state. So think about that next time we're actually breathing. Because when we're stressed, we actually breathe from our chest. We're actually shorter in our breath. But when we allow ourselves to intentionally sit down and relax and start to breathe, we're actually activating our parasympathetic nervous system. All right. So slow breathing, absolutely highly recommended. And I don't know whether or not we could do this, but I would just come off screen share and maybe I can demo our little box breathing because I kind of feel the calling too. If everyone want to join me, I will guide you, but let's uncross our legs and have our feet firmly on the ground. Let's do our box breathing where the reason why we call it a box, okay? I always have this post-it that I can share with my clients. So the box, all right? We're inhaling for 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, and holding for 4. Okay. Are you interested to try it with me? Great. And we'll do 4 sets. How's that? Okay, great. All right. So sitting relaxed, uncross your legs, and just roll your shoulders a little bit. You can choose to close your eyes or you can just lower your gaze. Okay. Let's inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. And exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold for 4. And set number 2. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. And exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. And set number 3. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. And exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. Last but not least, nice, deep and slow. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. And exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. Oh, thank you for doing that. I wanted to share as well that remember when we do a longer exhalation, I think one of the biggest aha moments was the fact that we can actually reduce our amyloid plaques in our brain. Remember Paul Taylor sharing that in our cancer conference? I thought, wow, we can all activate and start investing in a prevention for Alzheimer's. I think that's perfect. Thank you for doing that. So let me just share my screen again. So I think even that just short little moment of breathing has suddenly just given me slight mental clarity just then. I love it. Okay. So it really gives me that relaxation response and also that, little momentary of clarity. Okay. So the more we do, the better we get. And it's not about perfection. It really is slow, consistent, building good momentum. All right. And yeah, I've shared a couple of mindfulness practices here as well. So, I think one thing I really wanted to share with you when I was on that chemo chair, I was actually taught by my mentor at the time to visualize. So apart from, um, you know, learning how to breathe, I think it was not just the breathing that helped me. It's because I had a portacath right here. And whenever the portacath was going, well, the needle was going, I had to put a patch, right, to numb the area so then when the needle went in for the chemo that I was comfortable. And I always remember that I had to turn away when the needle was injected, something to do with the movement of the nerves. And I think as soon as I felt the chemo through my veins, at that moment, I closed my eyes and I started feeling the drug going in and visualizing that the chemo is zapping away all of my cancer cells in my body. That power of visualization as part of my mindfulness practice during my chemotherapy really helped me. It really helped me reinforce the impact of why I chose to do this and how the outcome will be for me. Again, it is my own personal visualization exercise, and I felt that really worked for me because as soon as I can feel that liquid going through, the chemo going through, I started just that power of feeling into that. And some days, because I'm expected to take a tablet to manage my anxiety, and I could never take the full dose, I always took a half dose because me and drugs are not friends, right? So it's amazing that I survived the chemo. But I took half tablet, and it usually puts me in quite a relaxed state. And sometimes at the start of my chemo, I would fall asleep. And so I would fall asleep just that for about half an hour with that visualization in my head. And we know from cancer research that some patients who are given a placebo actually do better than people who are given tablets. So the power of our mind, we can never underestimate the power of our mind because it does work. Okay. So the guided imagery is very powerful. I highly recommend that. And this would be so good for any one of us who are curious to just start. Mindfulness is not about knowing. Mindfulness is powerful when we start to do. And if I could encourage each and every one of you to release the attachment to the outcome of it needing to be perfect. It really isn't. It's the act. It's one opportunity followed by another of just giving ourselves the permission to just be still and do something that really makes your heart just flow into what you need. And the more we practice this, the more we are able to pick up on the signals of what our body is actually really telling us. Because I know it works. It's worked for me. I'm the most difficult client for anyone to mentor and to coach because I refuse to let my guard down and I'm such a control freak. But the minute I allow myself just for about 10 minutes to be still, I was just really blown away at how much I could recognize the signals of what my body is telling me. So I really empower you guys to try. And yeah, it doesn't need to be a grand gesture. You can just find a corner in your house that makes you feel good. Maybe it's next to your favorite armchair. Put a nice little cushion. Put on some, essential oils. For me, I love doTERRA essential oils. And it's my little nook that I sit to breathe. Okay? All right. So that's the mindfulness bit. Okay. And the gratitude journaling and its benefits, right? So gratitude journaling is a great mindfulness practice. I actually love the idea that it reduces stress. It's a great stress reduction tool. It reduces stress by actually 28%. That's a great ratio, right? And reduces depression by 16%. All right. And it also reduces the feelings of hopelessness, because what happens when we focus on gratitude journaling, we are activating our brain to start thinking in a different manner. Remember the benefits of neuroplasticity. It is doable. Every one of us, it doesn't matter what background we are from, the minute we start to embody how grateful, how thankful we are, our outlook and perception towards our life and our current cancer diagnosis or, health conditions or struggles or challenges will become, it won't go away, but it will help to change our perception. Okay. Because it really helps with our feelings of negativity. All right. We're not trying to say gratitude journaling is trying to Pollyanna our outcomes. No, we're not. We're still acknowledging that it's a true situation and a challenge, but we can definitely find one thing that we can be thankful for. And it could be someone who might have opened the door for you when you're entering the hospital for your treatments. Okay. So something like that could go into your journal. All right. And also, 15% greater self-control is one of the outcomes for journaling. I find that so amazing. And it's completely free. You can even go out and buy your favorite journal. There's some fancy journals now with leather covers and stuff, if you look online. And it can be blank or it can be guided. Some guided journals are very, very helpful for people who, I've actually got my husband and my kids into journaling. And I started them with guided journals. Even myself, I started with guided journals. And then now I've transitioned into a blank journal, no prompts, nothing, and I just write with my own feelings. Okay, so whatever makes you feel comfortable when it comes to journaling, it does not have to be long essays. It could be just words. Just start with a couple of words, right? And I promise you, you will start to feel that your mindset and your outlook will start to shift. All right, it has happened to me, and I know that it works. So I really encourage you to try it. So let's get started, right? Developing a positive mindset is possible for everyone, no matter how grim the conditions are. And I find that no matter how challenging it can be, if you will find one positive thing that you can learn from your current situation, what could it be? There is always a silver lining. And I know it sounds almost counterintuitive. I mean, after my diagnosis, I could not think of anything but the doomers, gloomers outcome. But one thing for sure, I knew that I was thankful for the fact that I have 2 kids. That's really motivated me to not just survive, but my passion and my commitment to thriving as a cancer survivor, because I want to be able to make sure that my time now, while I've got with my children, is one that I can help to make the change and teach them and empower them to live their best life through my mistake and my own trauma, and my own lesson in life and my own, sort of health challenges. And that for me is a great reason for me to keep going and, to focus on the things that I want to change, and for the people that are the most meaningful to me. All right. So it really is what spurred me on, no matter how hard it was. I mean, chemo was tough for me, and I think radiation was easy at the beginning, but it knocked me for 6 by week 2. So, it was very hard. But whenever I look at my kids, they are my why. And when I actually tell myself, okay, I'm doing this for a great purpose for my kids, it brought me back on my path. It helps me reduce my anxiety. It gave me a strong purpose to keep going. And also having myself surrounded by people who are also positive. That's the reason why I love connecting with the community. Within Tree of Life, there are people, health coaches, who have all had their story with cancer, who are able to support somebody else who are newly diagnosed, or even caregivers that are struggling at the moment with stress. We are all here to support each other. Okay. So the positive mindset and the energy within a group scenario will definitely be infectious in a good way. It affects and impact someone within this community. And I know for a fact that Tree of Life is one such positive community for us to be connected with. Okay. And yeah, I've actually just talked about my why. So, it's really important that when we start this journey together within Tree of Life, there will be content within the curriculum, within the modules that would allow ourselves to ensure that we know our values, get clearer on our values, and then also the purpose, right? People who feel that their lives are meaningful get better health outcomes because they are a little bit more effective in coping with the journey ahead. And the higher sense of purpose is also associated with greater use of preventive health services, okay? Such as, taking ownership of our blood tests, our mammograms, or even our prostate exams. Me, I've never been more accountable for my own health. Now I'm on annual reminders for my blood test, which I do. I have literally just done that 2 weeks ago. My mammogram every February, and my cervical smear. I've never been more dedicated to my own well-being. But that is exactly what cancer has taught me. It's the silver lining. Okay. And people who have a stronger sense of purpose also are happier people. All right. We become more resilient, and we are able to stay more in control. So I think that's really powerful. All right. So I would love for you to share, if you would like, anything that you feel really resonated with you today. It could be a suggestion for you to maybe move more. Maybe you feel that you could get a little bit more music, a little bit more movement. And I guess it's about having a little bit of that fun and play in our life, because sometimes that really shakes off a lot of that negative tension through our body. I've recently picked up Zumba. Every Thursday, I have a little Zumba community. And I find that every time when I walk into that studio, I probably have a lot of things on my mind. I may be just trying to juggle the kids and all that, and making sure that I can get to my class, my Zumba class, on time. Actually, I don't know. It's a form of Zumba, but I think she calls it Latin Fit. So it's about that Latin music and that dance. And there's something about it, and I'm starting to suspect whether or not in my past life I might be Latin American. I love like the whole salsa, merengue. I love that dance, and just having fun. Maybe you want to be, curious and see whether you can fit in some additional breathing. And learning to just recognize signals within your body. Okay, so journaling, coloring, knitting, if you want to do knitting and start to do that, because that's active meditation as well. The coloring is active meditation. Or giving yourself that little pamper. Doesn't matter whether it's a massage or pampering your nervous system by sitting down to do box breathing and scheduling it in your schedule, in your reminders. And then maybe creating something like an evening routine that can help you get into a little bit of that gratitude journaling. Okay. And don't forget that connecting with friends and family is also medicine. You know, friends are medicine. Lifestyle, one of the lifestyle pillars that we definitely recommend is the connection piece, right? So connecting with people, not just online, but in person, right? Now that we're so much more relaxed with our COVID, restrictions, which is probably none and out right now, let's see our friends. Let's come out of our shell a little bit. And maybe you want to do some art, or maybe you want to do a little bit of Tai Chi or Qigong after what I've shared with you. So let's try and get curious after today's session. Think about what you could do on a daily and what you could do on a weekly. Okay? So we've got a couple of, resources, references from whatever I've shared today that the team can share through communicating within Tree of Life or email. So, if there are any questions you want to raise, let me know. But yeah, put it in the chat box or we can come off mute. So I thank you so much for your attention. And I also wanted the opportunity to let you know that we run this particular group life event once a month. And there will be a different speaker each month. So this month it's me, next month could be Dr. Penny or even Catherine Steele. One of us will be hosting the next session. And you can find all of our community events within Tree of Life platform. And alternatively, if you're working your way through the Tree of Life Anti-Cancer Lifestyle Program, you can join our group education events. That is, we always put our events online, so you know when it's the next event. You can subscribe and add those to your calendar. I find that really handy. And then you have it in your Google Calendar, and the time is blocked off as a reminder for you. Okay, so we will always have module 1 as a free event, because let's face it, we all recognize that stress does not do our body and our mind any favors. So stress is definitely one of the modules that we want to be able to share with everyone who is interested to improve their health and well-being, and to be in the space to prevent chronic illness diagnosis. Okay, so yeah, I think I've got like 10 more minutes before the finish, so I'm getting better with my timing, I guess, Tom. The way I've been covering and make sure that I don't go over time. But for anyone who is interested as well, I want to also share that module 1 is absolutely free for anyone to join. And like I said earlier, there's probably about 20,000 hours worth of content. So we encourage everyone to, continue with module 2 all the way up to module 7. There's a lot of content. And so there is an opportunity for you to sign up and continue the journey. And if anyone that you feel who is currently going through a very difficult time with the diagnosis, or even the caregivers who can benefit with a Tree of Life program, please feel free to share. We are here to support. And if you feel that they are also ready for one-on-one coaching with a cancer coach, feel free to direct them to the Tree of Life, get them to sign up to be members, getting module 1 free. There won't be any charge for module 1. And in terms of subscription, there will be a monthly subscription of US dollars $25.99. And if I'm not wrong, New Zealand dollars is about $40 a month. And it works out to be cheaper on an annual basis as well. Okay, so Tom will drop in a chat box how to access these details for membership. And also, if you want to book one-on-one coaching with a coach like myself or anyone else, feel free to pop in the link that Tom is sharing in the chat box, and book a free consultation with one of the coaches. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing right now, and so that I can see everyone. Okay. Any questions from you, Chrissy? Let me know.
No questions, Catherine. Just thank you for sharing your personal journey, and for going through that first module. And I know through having recently participated, the power of actually going through that first module, and it certainly helped me to reconnect things that I've put on hold around my own self-care. As a nurse, we're always busy giving for others and we forget to give for ourselves. So it's actually been really good. And, you know, the gratitude, I complete that every evening. I write 3 things down that I'm grateful for that have occurred or I've seen or whatever during the day. And getting back into those morning and evening rituals. And that in itself has certainly made a huge impact on my stress levels. And as a consequence, I feel a lot healthier for it. So yeah, I would highly recommend participation in the Tree of Life. So, but thank you for sharing and thank you for your time.
No problems. And if you have any other questions when it comes to the Tree of Life platform and, you know, how you can share it with your wider community, please let us know. Feel free to chime in if there's any additional support that you require from us. I'm so grateful for your time tonight. And hopefully, you know, direct people, this particular session will be it is recorded and it will be within our Tree of Life platform for any of our members to tune in.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Chrissy.
you.
All right, we look forward to
Thanks,
seeing
Catherine.
you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you,
Chrissy.
guys.